I was terrified that my secret would get out. I was scared of what other people would think about me.
People have always thought of Isaiah Austin differently. By middle school in Texas, he stood 6'7" tall and was getting attention from college scouts when he made a routine move in a pregame warm-up.
I went up and I dunked it, and I remember as soon as I dunked it, I came down and I opened my eyes and I just saw red.
The dunk aggravated an injury Isaiah had suffered 2 years earlier when a baseball hit his eye. Isaiah had now torn his retina, the part of the eye which transmits images to the brain.
If there's permanent damage there, the brain receives no signal. This was one of the worst attachments that I've seen in my 15 to 20-year career. Without the surgery, he would have been immediately blind. With the surgery, there was a 50% chance we would not be able to save his eyesight.
I'm terrified what's gonna happen. Like, am I gonna get my sight back? I mean, I just remember waking up and probably the worst pain of my life. I mean, it's like somebody sticking a needle in your eye.
Isaiah endured 4 major surgeries over the course of a year to save the sight in his right eye. After each surgery, it would return briefly, only to fade again.
Really what was on my mind was I couldn't play basketball. That was really the toughest part for me.
He came to me and he said, "Mom, I have to tell you something." He's like, I can't see anything. And he's like, "How am I gonna get through this?" How do you tell a 16-year-old that this is how it's gonna be? It's really hard. I said, "You have 2 choices. You can make it your excuse,
Or you can make it your story. You can touch lives, or you can, be a quitter.
Oh, you gotta make it though, you gotta make it.
So I went out in the backyard, I picked up the basketball, and I started to shoot.
See this? That's surgery.
Nearly a year after the accident, Isaiah got back on the court, but he had lost all depth perception.
Sometimes I would make shots, sometimes I would airball crazy. I had to figure it out myself, because my shooting coach he didn't have one eye, so he couldn't tell me how to shoot. I would just have to focus. I'm so used to using my peripheral to see the chorus, and I have to keep my head on a swivel. It's really just practicing muscle memory. My body just knows where to send the ball.
Despite his limitations, Isaiah had become a consensus top 5 national recruit. By then, 7 feet tall, he received so many recruiting letters, it broke his high school mailbox.
A lot of the coaches that were recruiting me, they thought I had 2 eyes. They thought I was fully capable of seeing with both eyes, and at the time I wasn't. I didn't want to tell them the truth because I was afraid that they would stop recruiting me.
He committed to Baylor, and though coaches knew of his condition, it wasn't until in early practice that they began to realize the impact.
He had said, "I couldn't see that, coach," or "It's hard for me to see that." I remember at that point, for the first time, really saying, "Well, wait a minute, I've never coached anyone that was blind in one eye."
Isaiah told teammates what he had been hiding, information he had been reluctant to share publicly until now.
For this, I was terrified that my secret would get out. People would know that my eye isn't the same. I don't want to hide it anymore.
I don't think, him having one eye has held him back at all. He can shoot over both shoulders, and people with 2 eyes can't even do that.
Inside, blocked by Austin, blocked by Austin. Jammed in by Isaiah Austin.
I'm more in awe of him overachieving and doing what he's doing with one eye. I think that's why he's successful, is he never uses it as an excuse.
Grabbed by Austin, 2-hand jam to Isaiah Austin. He dunks it.
I see a tremendously talented kid that has overcome so much and will continue to not only achieve but inspire.
When I look at myself now, I just look in my eyes because I see so much of my life that has been through it. I've seen the pain, the tears, the joy. I see everything.